I'm beginning to think that Wanda has trapped Westview and its residents within her reality. And the people who are trapped within this reality have no memory that they're trapped. They're living the supposed lives of whatever TV show, genre, or generation she has changed it into. When her emotional state is affected, I believe that some of these people start getting a moment of clarity, like the episode 3 where Monica is talking about Wanda's brother after Wanda brought it up, and then she brings up killed by Ultron, and then it focuses on a pendant. She starts having panic. So when she's in a calm state or a happy state, I believe that the control of the reality on the residents weakens. But when she starts panicking, like the Ultron thing, she tries to eject that threat as soon as possible. As for that, I believe Agatha and is it Herb? I think Agatha and Herb know what's going on, but they don't want Vision to know because then Vision might trigger Wanda to lose control and affect more of the real world outside of Westview. The one symbol on the episode 2, the when it first shows the sun and the 6 stars, it reminded me a lot of the Jonathan Hickman Avengers symbol that people use, where it would have the A in the middle and the 6 main Avengers on the outside, and then how other heroes would connect to them. Again, I read too far off. We're going to see another Bova Easter egg in a later episode. Oh, well, thank you, Mark, that you just joined. So I don't know if you have your stuff set up, but I will definitely, give me a second. I'll bring you in. I would like to actually have a master if you want it. There you go, Mark. It's been DM'd to you. I think she is in control. Oh, so yes is me actually getting this shit together. So you think I have this under? I've pretty much figured it out, because I know Marvel and some of the other people who are connected to the show have confirmed that a lot of people have figured out the theory. But the StreamYard link is sent to you, Mark, for those still watching, like for an hour listening to me talk. I'll put you in my will, because not even my family likes to hear me talk this long. So that's pretty cool. If Mark is going to come in, you have the DM'd on Twitter, and you can give me a little bit of heads up, because this is fun. You know what I mean? I don't know how many people are still here who remember like Where's Waldo books, Carmen Sandiego games, all that kind of, yeah, it is funny, Shadow. But if you remember that type of stuff when you're a kid, like, you know, when you get that focus on things that really interest you, like when you play with Lego. And he just joined in. All right, everyone, we can please welcome Mark. How you doing, Mark?
Pretty good. I don't know how long this rig is going to last, because it's all battery operated. I mean, so it's rechargeable.
That's what she said.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. How much have I gone overboard, and how much have I found?
The little details are there for you to enjoy. I don't think they matter to the overall plot.
No,
I really don't.
No,
I think the overall plot for me is that Wanda is controlling all of this. Okay, you're talking about somebody who has had such loss, that her psyche is really fragile, and to try to hold it all together, she has wound up taking over this town. And I think you're right to a certain extent about how she's controlling the town, because even when she's not present, like Dottie in her home is asking her husband, you know, does this thing make me look fat? You know,
I think Dottie is. I still think Dottie is either Daedra or June. I think so, because the Wentworth store and everything. But
I don't know. But I don't know about other characters other than Agnes, who I'm pretty sure is Agatha Harkness.
It is. I confirm that. I can send you the screenshots later on Twitter. You can rewatch later.
Okay.
But
Vision and the children are not real.
No,
they are constructs of Wanda's mind. And the problem is that Sword is still coming in to try to figure out how to stop all this, because she has taken over the town. As they try to come in, the reason why he's wearing a bee suit is I think the AIM thing is a bit of a red herring. It might not be, but I think it's a bit of a red herring. I think she's looking at ways into the town and finding ways to block them up so they can't get in. And I think for the bee suit is because she's got bees in the sewer keeping them from coming in.
So okay,
it's just a defense mechanism for the town.
Did you come in when I showed the two different beekeepers?
Yeah, I know about the two different beekeepers. I think that you got a second attempt with a little more oomph on, because the other guy had such trouble. That's just I think it's just a little bit. I think there's a lot of things that are in there to throw you off as red herrings too.
Yeah,
and so you got to be careful at the end. But I can tell you where I think all this is going, and I think Sword is eventually going to get in. Yeah, Sword is eventually going to affect this, and this is what's going to lead into everything else for at least 2 more films. And that this fragile mind is going to
bring in everything. Do you think
it's crack?
Do you think when it cracks though, like this whole reality is her kind of therapy in a way for herself? It's her defense mechanism. Do you think if it, depending on whoever affects this, she is going to maybe create the reverse House of M worst day, and we're going to start seeing mutant genes, or people are going to be affected whatever happens by the end of this, and it's going to change the world into more of a 616 environment?
I don't think it's going to be any of that. You got to realize madness of the multiverse is where we're headed. I think what happens is not only does it fracture her mind, it fractures all of reality. So what you have is splits in the rifts in reality where other universes
are being pulled
within the multiverse are being like walking free through each universe, which is what's good. You know, we wouldn't think about the new Spider-Man movie coming up. We're talking about having Toby and
Garfield.
Andrew Garfield, and then all these villains coming in. Right. And this is happening because she splits the reality and people can walk in and out from the multiverse. So when she goes, it's going to be like a volcano erupting.
I can't wait for that. That's why I'm so excited. Like, I think you're right. I know I break down a lot of things, but I think a lot of them are just there as like treats to find, but there's also connections. I think that we're going to see people like Mephisto probably show up. I think we're going to be getting Young Avengers showing up. I think they're going to go down this road. I don't think it's just going to be the MCU. I think there's going to be more coming, even if it's just like with What If series and stuff. They're trying to open the door for more potential stories and movies. I think that's what they're trying to do with all of it.
Possibly for the future, but you're probably not going to see any of it for a real long time. I don't know about the connection to the mutants. I don't know that that's going to be part of it. It could, but what I'm interested in is what happens to Vision when this is all done. How much is real? Because there was a real Vision body after.
Yeah, Endgame. There was, because it even turned gray when the stone was removed. I remember that. But
okay, and let me get to that part. If you will remember, or if you never read it, if you know your comic book history, during these 2 books that I'm talking about, okay, this all starts with somebody capturing the Vision and Wanda and the West Coast Avengers going to look for him. And when they find him, he has been completely dissected. And they put him back together. But the problem is that his mind, which was actually a scan of somebody else's brain who decides he doesn't want to participate and give him his mind back, so his mind is gone. So he is not the same Vision that everybody has known. And for, I don't remember how many years, we had a Vision who was as white as a ghost.
Because it's no longer it's not quite, it might have Jarvis's voice, but it's not Jarvis. He's a synthoid.
Well, not only that, but I mean, we had Jarvis and then we had Ultron, and how do you get those two? Jarvis still cracks, but Ultron is gone. You can't add Ultron back to that personality.
No, you can't. But at the same time, wasn't there a third AI created? Was it Hydra or AIM created another AI that infected Vision at a time?
It's possible.
Do you remember that story time? You know, it is a comic book. I can't remember the name of it. But there was an AI that infected Vision at one point.
That might have been when he finally got some voice back and actually got his quote unquote got his color back.
Yeah.
By that point, I think I quit reading because it was getting crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, with the West Coast Avengers, these two stories, Vision Quest, which is when this happens to Vision, is what leads to Wanda's breakdown, and all of a sudden her kids start disappearing, and she starts blaming Agatha Harkness, and then she loses it and goes bad. Of course, you had Magneto to kind of pick up the pieces there and say, "Well, you're supposed to be with me anyway."
And how right?
Well, that's years later. That's all derivative of these two stories that John Byrne did back in '89.
Oh shit! Like that's what I'm saying.
That's
what I don't know.
That's what I keep telling everybody. Everybody's looking in the wrong place. Do those stories count? House of M, absolutely. Because what Bendis did was he took that idea that Byrne had laid way back in the late '80s, and then built upon it with this Avengers Disassembled and then House of M. But without Byrne, none of this exists. That's the foundation of where this starts.
So pick up your back
I keep telling everybody, it's on Comixology. I just checked it. And so I'm like, dude, why isn't everybody reading these stories? You want to know what's going on or want to have a good foundation of where this is headed? It's all right there. All you got to do is read these two stories. And it's really good art, too, because it's John Byrne.
All right. Well, you in the private chat, if you want, hook me up with like the storylines, and I will put them up for people to check out for themselves. But like, dude, I like getting a second point of view because I don't know that much. Even if it was 24 or Clobbering here, you're making me still more excited. I don't care if the things are wrong. I said this at the beginning. These are just things I found, like the Hulkling stuff and the Ant-Man things. Like it's just those little things, even if they're just
no. If you're having fun finding Easter eggs, by all means, keep going at it because that's what they're there for. They're there to find and have fun.
Is her pendant though? I had a question though. Agatha or Agnes, her pendant, is it the Three Graces?
I don't remember that being. I know she wears a pendant in the comic book, and it could just be a callback to how Agatha dresses in the comics, because she wears a pendant in the comics. As far as whether the
usually in the middle of her neck, at the top of her collar.
I am not familiar enough with Agatha Harkness's backstory to know if that pendant in the comics has meaning, but they have proven before that just because something didn't have meaning in the comic book doesn't mean it won't have meaning here, and vice versa. So it could not. You know, these are the little details that I can't answer. What I can answer is what I think the big picture is.
I don't know when you came in, but I'll bring this up so we can actually share it so you can take a look. See,
okay.
Well, I don't know if you can see that or not, but do you think the rabbit in the episode 2 intro is technically the metaphor for her cat, and that can pretty much solidify that it is Agatha? I'll blow it up right here for you. Hold on, sorry. Because there's her brooch we were talking about, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. Other people were trying to say that her pendant was what do you call it? Related to Thor.
I don't know if they. Yeah. And they may say, well, we don't want to go that way. We'll go this way. It's quite possible. I can't answer that. You know.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
You could very well be right, or it could be something totally different. I don't know.
Either way, it's nice having discussion like this because it kind of reminds me when people used to debate about Star Wars. It's the same kind of thing. I like having these discussions, and there's no real shows that let you do this. So I appreciate your input as well as other people's, because no one's ever going to be 100% right, and no one's ever going to be 100% wrong. But
if I'm wrong about the big picture on this, I'll eat a shoe. I swear to God, I will.
No. I don't want to see you eat a shoe, bro. The thing is, I'd rather have. Like you're saying, you have fun bringing up the stories and actually giving your insight, right? So you're doing exactly the same thing you told me to do. Just keep having fun. And honestly, I think the next episode is going to have something that's going to give us a bigger picture. I think it's going to give us something because Monica got in there somehow, and she lost all sense of who she was until that Ultron memory came back. So
and that was all happening, and because of
she was happy.
The pregnancy, Wanda lost control.
Ooh, yeah,
when Wanda lost control. That's when Monica was able to think again, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Oh no! You can't crack my reality here. You've got to go." And she was accepted.
The question I want to ask though, during when she's giving birth, right? Do you think it was her powers or the baby's powers that were making the shit spin and the rain happen?
It's all her powers. There are no
So
babies.
you don't think at all it's the kids trying to give her like a subliminal message saying, "Hey, we're coming faster."
Unless they go a different direction, there are no babies. That's the thing. There are no babies.
But
it's all Wanda. It's a
true.
construct of Wanda. It's all Wanda.
That is true, though. But later on, there is incarnations of those kids in future comics. At the same time, they were actually taken from a sliver of Mephisto's soul, both of them. But Mephisto later on takes them back.
Mm.
So they even have that opportunity. This is all up in the air, but this is great. I'm loving this. Do you think they're going to put a second season into this, though?
It's hard. I don't know. It's hard to say because the events of season 1 are gonna so fracture everything, leading into everything else. At least that's my theory. Mm-hmm. That how do you have a season 2? Or if it's a season 2, it is going to be so completely different than what we have now.
Yeah,
it has to be.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with that. Do you think, though, they're also going to try to use this as a way to explain bringing back a Captain America, or at the same time, Hail Stig, how are you doing today? Dee Myers is 24/7. Do you think, though, they can use this as a way to bring back Black Widow, or a different version of Black Widow from another universe? Do you think they would go down that road because they're taking so long with that movie?
Well, I mean, the movie's done. The movie's been done. I think
not for secret scenes, though.
Will it happen? Will it lead to more Black Widow? I think it depends on whether there's enough money involved for Scarlett Johansson and whether she signs the contract.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
it all comes down to whether the actress wants to come back and do it again. If she wants to come back and do it again, and they wouldn't offer her a dump truck full of money, then lo and behold, it did. If she doesn't want to do it and say no, I think I'm done, then it never did.
I think
that's the practicality of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I honestly think, though, we might be getting a Young Avengers. I can't remember if they actually announced or not, but I do think they're going to try.
No, they never announced it.
But I think we're going to see some stuff that we didn't expect and some stuff we did expect, and it's just been. This is a ride. This is like a roller coaster for me. It's like without the drops.
Right now, the only link to Young Avengers that we know we have is Kate Bishop.
Okay.
Because she's there's a Hawkeye series coming, and she is Haley the chick from Bumblebee is playing Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop was the Hawkeye that originally came from Young Avengers.
Yeah. God damn, bro. I should have talked to you first before I came on here. I didn't even expect you to show up, man. That's just thank you.
I just happened upon you. I mean, when you came on, and I found what you were saying on Loki's show about WandaVision and your excitement about it. You were saying I'm going to have videos about this, and I'm like, let me go ahead and make sure I've got you followed and subscribed to, so that I can kind of keep track of this. And it's like, because I've been screaming to the high freaking heavens on every webcast or every live stream that's been covering this. No, everybody's looking in the wrong place. Go back further. This is where it starts.
That's where my history
this
ties,
is part of it. Yes, this is House of M and Avengers Disassembled is part of it, but you have to go back to the beginning to see where the foundation of this is, because the foundation of that storyline is back in '89. It was done by Byrne. It's in I don't know. I think it's in like,
what's the name of it?
Maybe 10 issues. It's 2 different books. Okay. The first one is called Vision Quest. Avengers West Coast Vision Quest by John Byrne.
All right, hold on a second. Okay, so I'm going to remove this comment because for some reason I still have your comment up on my screen. I'm going to do it better for people. So what the first book people want to look into is called West Coast Avengers.
Vision Quest.
All right, so those people who want to actually try to find an online version of this book, there you go. And the second book?
Darker Than Scarlet. And it's actually, it starts the issue after Vision Quest. It's basically one storyline, but different things are happening, so it's been broken up right there. So it's not like, oh man, there's issues in between them. No. This is going to go from one issue, and with those 2 books, go all the way through and cover the whole thing. Okay. And yeah, Wanda is not in a good place when this is said and done, and
she's going to be in a worse place after.
And you know, this kind of simmers and continues to simmers until you get to Avengers Disassembled, which would probably be where I would go after this. There may be stories in between I'm unfamiliar with. But Avengers Disassembled and then House of M kind of lead into Avengers Disassembled leads into House of M, and you can check those out. But it all starts with Vision Quest and Darker Than Scarlet.
That is awesome. I'm definitely going to read those books later. Like, this is literally, I think, my first actual live stream that wasn't a video game. So it was just, thank you. I'm going to be reading those. But is there anything I'm way off, or is there anything I've actually found that is what you're trying to say? Because I didn't even think to go back to 89.
No, like I said, I think what you're finding, some of it's probably red herring. Some of it may just be overthinking in your head. I don't know.
Yeah.
But a lot of it are there's probably a few Easter eggs there that are letting you know what's to come in the future. I think you're not off on that. And then I think there's probably some Easter eggs that are there just to be Easter eggs and for you to find. And so it's probably running the kind of the buffet line of Easter eggs that you're hunting down. Some of it's probably not even real. Yeah. It's just in your head. Just be okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I don't care. That's the whole point, though. It's still funny because, like I said, I keep bringing this up.
But some of them are very much real, and some of them may actually lead to things in the future. But like I said, my concern isn't necessarily the minutia. My concern is the overall plot. Yeah, because that's what I've read, and that's what I saw in the comic book. And I'm like, this is where it's going to go. It has to go, unless they decide to just do a complete 180 detour from original stories, which they've done in the past. But even Civil War, which is nothing like the comic book.
No, it's not.
The foundation, the core of the argument between Tony and Cap is the comic book. And when everything else doesn't matter, the foundation of that book, the argument between Tony and Cap and Steve, is there. That's the part that exists. So if they're going to pull from this story, which it looks like what they're doing, I can't imagine the foundation, the bones of this story being there. Although it's interesting in that Byrne doesn't get a credit at the end of the story, at the end of the show.
But that's weird. I've heard that the credits they sometimes throw in and are taking out weird names, because I did find Joss Whedon in the credits of one of the episodes, which makes no sense.
And it's just like, why isn't it? Byrne has a website, and I went on there, and it's like Darker Than Scarlet much, because that's really the crux of Wanda's story. Vision Quest is about what happens to Vision. And I think it's possible like I said, when this is done, we may get a form of Vision. He won't have any color. He'll just be gray Vision. Whether he has the Mind Stone or not, I don't know. Probably not. I think the Mind Stone's gone.
Yeah, that's the thing that bothers me. I didn't mean to cut you off, but people are saying that Wanda can create the Infinity Stones, but I have a hard belief that that's possible. And in one of the trailers, it actually shows the stone reforming, then disassembling, which also could be part of her trauma. I don't think Vision. I agree. Vision's not alive. Harkness has even said it in that one car scene. Am I dead? No. Why would you say that? Because you are. That was a clear key. Vision's not there. She's dead. That's why I went back to that screenshots where it shows from the second trailer. It has them in the bed, right? But there's only one pair of slippers. That's only Wanda's slippers. That's giving you a clear kind of representation that Vision isn't really there.
Yeah. Well, there's also been a thought that we were talking about the brooch that Agnes wears, and does it have imbued with powers because of its past? And does that become, so in some way, shape, or form, Vision's new Mind Stone?
That could be it too, but
that's a reach.
That is a reach, but we don't know what will it ever do. For those that was one of those talking,
it would definitely be something that Wanda tries to imbue. Okay, I'm going to imbue what I know Vision to be into the stone, because it's a brooch is a type of stone. It's not a magical stone, but it may be magical stone to a certain degree.
Well, she's also a mystic arts user too, so there's a lot of devices, especially with if you look at Doctor Strange, where they have all the different items and objects of mystic powers are all sealed away. So we don't know I'm going to go through that later and see if there actually is a brooch somewhere in there that we missed. But it's just, I can agree. I don't think people are looking hard enough in the right areas, and at the same time, for $25 million, they have the option to put a lot of stuff in just to appreciate fans and give fans the nod that, hey, it's like the Favreau effect with Luke Skywalker for 10 minutes, you know what I mean, or the Easter eggs through Mandalorian. There's someone like that in there who is putting enough delicate little touches to keep people excited, and it worked for me. And I think there's someone doing that here at the same time. We're never going to fully know, and all we can do is watch.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was going to say, I think too, what is truly important, we'll know by the end. I think a lot of it is, like I said, is there for your enjoyment, and some of it's purely your imagination, what you think is there. But that's the fun part too. So, yeah. I mean, I remember when the Matrix 2 came out, Matrix Reloaded, and we had 6 months, 8 months to wait before Revolutions came out.
Yeah.
And the scene where he meets the architect in the room with all the televisions.
And they're all doing the same thing. And they're all like, I will not make this choice. And they're all freaking out.
No. They're not all doing the same thing. They're all doing something absolutely different.
Then I remember
when the architect speaks to Neo, all of a sudden the TVs all go to Neo, show Neo, but Neo's doing something different in every single television. The idea is, and then it'll go to a screen, focus on it, and you'll go into that screen, and that screen becomes the reality. What you're looking at is Neo's choices, and the one you focus on is the choice he made. It's about choice. And we wound up dissecting that scene for days. And it turned out we came up with crazy stuff that didn't even exist. But the one thing we did come up with that was reality was those television screens and what was coming up. So, we were like, oh, we were right about that. Because, yeah, those TV screens all change. And every time the architect speaks to Neo and says something to him, they'll focus on the screens behind Neo and they'll pick one. And then they'll go towards it. And
so in a way, it's trying to show the different strings of fate depending on Neo's choices from the TV's point of view. It's like Neo is the present, while the TVs are the different choice afterthoughts of whatever he does when he's talking to him.
Right, and then the TV goes to the choice he's made, and then that's the new reality.
I now have to rewatch. You're gonna make me rewatch Matrix 2 just to see that, you bastard! Why you gotta ruin my weekend like that? What is this shit?
But this is but the fun you're having here was the fun we had there. And that was kind of the disappointment about Matrix Revolutions, was the fact that from can I cuss on here?
Go the fuck ahead.
From a mindfuck standpoint, Matrix Reloaded was a great movie for a cliffhanger, because I had so many questions. My mind was going so many places, just like yours is for WandaVision. And then Matrix Revolutions comes out, and you're like, they didn't bother to be smart about any of this. They just put visual masturbation on the screen. This is nothing but one big special effect. This is garbage.
Let's not forget the underground rave, which had no fucking meaning. Everyone start bumping and grinding like a Nelly video in the post-apocalyptic world while robots are hunting you down. You remember that scene where everyone's like, now let's get busy? Like, no. So wrong. That's where I turned off the movie for a little bit, because when I start going, okay, I'm gonna start dancing, I'm like, you all got in one big cave and now you're doing the rave. I'm out. I'm freaking out. But like, this is another one. Like, if you were to look at the Agnes, especially like the one I'm showing right now, do you think anyone would do a pregnancy book with that kind of dark color scheme when it reminds you of a horror novel? Like, that threw me off too. Like, that's why I'm actually thought about Agatha, right? Because there was a comic cover that had the same kind of scheme, right? And it's only 3 colors. And I don't know any pregnancy book that makes you go, hi, here's the darkness, here's the red. Congratulations, you're gonna have a future of nothing but dark. That's the way
the pendant, that brooch that's around her neck, the pendant. Yeah, that's what I'm referring to being the new Mind Stone. And it could be. And Agnes wears that in the show.
Yeah, she does. She wears it on her chest, and it's covered by the picture of the 3 Graces, which could be just also. We don't even know if the clothing and all the hair is actually also affecting what the people actually look like. We don't even know if the actual physical representations of these people are the actual individuals themselves. You know what I mean? When they're going through the different times of the television era, we don't even know if their outfits are being controlled by Wanda at the same time.
Oh, absolutely, they are. They have to be, because she's affecting the time stream. So that's why it's gone from the 50s to the 60s to the 70s. Everybody has to play along accordingly. They don't have a choice, because Wanda's taking away their choice. That's what everyone is trying to do, is find a way when she loses her concentration to find a way to So maybe Vision can help. Vision's not real, but anytime Vision says, "Hey, something's not right here," she resets Vision and puts him back in line. And you know, but I think the only one on the inside that really has any ability to make any change,
Agnes,
is Agnes.
Yep, she's the only one, because you remember her face, right, in episode 3, where she was looking at Herb and she's like, "Don't do it, don't you do it, don't you do it."
Yeah,
you're halfway through cutting that wall. Don't do it. You're almost out, bro. Don't do it.
And for a brief moment, he looks actually scared of Agnes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think Herb is someone else we haven't met yet.
I don't know that Herb is anybody special, though. I think Herb is these people lived in this town before this happened. They just got caught. You know, it's like being caught in a net and then being told to dance, you know,
like a monkey.
Dance like a puppet. Yeah, dance monkey dance. And then they're just like, okay. Yeah, I don't want, you know, and if you're not willing to do it, then you get ousted and you can't go home again, you know, until they can figure this out. But yeah, when this all goes down, Wanda's mind is going to break. And when it breaks, it's not just going to break the town. It's going to break the reality. And that's where we're going.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, I'm going to probably I think I'm going to wrap it up now, bro. I appreciate you coming on. I wish you came on sooner.
I'm glad to be here, because there have been discussions you've had. There's been discussions that Clobberentines has had and Loki's had, and I've been sitting on the show screaming from the side, "Hello, guys, you need to really read these." And nobody's like, "Oh yeah, hey, Mark C," and you're just like, "Oh dear God, Mark, somebody please listen," because this is the foundation of everything.
Well, you just got your voice to 5 or 7 other people who came by later, so it's going to be out there. Maybe other people will watch it, but you did. I'm going to have to edit this video, get rid of this couple screens. But I appreciate you coming on, man, because you're up there with me.
I really do.
You're up there with Clobbering, man. You have more knowledge than most people I know, even myself. Even 24, if he came up here, same thing, man. I respect the knowledge that other people have, because it can always teach you more. And I'm done with Disney. I'm done with Star Wars.
I've known Clobbering for we live in the same town. I've known him for years, like back in the mid 80s, right before, say, Batman came out in like 88, 87.
89. I think it was 89. You're talking about the movie? Or
the movie came out in 89, but it would have been before that. He owned a comic shop. I've been to that comic shop. While he was owning the comic shop, I was a customer at that comic shop. So we've known each other a really long time. We don't know each other well. It's not like, "Hey, pal, let's go have drinks and stuff on the weekends." It's not like that. But we run into each other probably hundreds of times through other comic shops and comic book get-togethers for years. And so we know each other well. And he's really good with Silver and Bronze Age, leading up to about 85, 80. No, he don't. He kind of dips out. He does pick up some stuff at that point, but he really dips out around when Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's his breaking point.
It is. I've heard it so many times, because you can hear the joy in his voice and soul leaving. And they came out with Crisis, and I was like, he turns into the Thing. It's great.
Whereas I started reading comic books in 83, and so I cover Beyond Crisis, because for me, and it comes down to Superman. We've had this discussion. It's on his show. Because for me, Superman, when I was a kid, was impenetrable. I couldn't get into the books, even as a kid, because there was so much. Well, because all as a kid, is that, all right, Superman works at the Daily Planet with Lois, Jimmy, and Perry, and he's from a town in Kansas, which we know is Smallville, but I don't even know if that was popular at that point. Yeah. And then when trouble is needed, he becomes Superman. That's all I knew. And I knew Lex Luthor because of cartoons and comics, cartoons and movies. And then I pick up the comic book, and there's like Bottle City Candor, Nightwing and Flamebird, Crypto, Aliens, and I'm like, what the hell is all this? And Superman, the book that I picked up, Superman was barely even in, and I'm just like, and it doesn't work at the Daily Planet anymore. They works for a television station, and Lois is like an investigative reporter for another television station, and Jimmy Wilson's no longer a photographer; he's a full-fledged reporter for the Daily Planet, which they should both be at, as far as I was concerned. I'm like, the foundation of what I knew wasn't there, so I couldn't. I'm like, I can't read this, and so I didn't. Not until Byrne took over in '86 and they rebooted the thing after Crisis, which is like blasphemy to clobbering times, which I understand because at this point it's been rebooted twice and I've been there.
I can get it.
Well, New 52 was my moment for that. The Superman that came out of that, it was just like, okay, I understand clobbering times point of view now. But it seems like because before Crisis, Superman was the person, Clark was the affectation. After Crisis, Clark was the person, Superman was the affectation. It completely changed the character in that respect, even though personality-wise, he doesn't really change all that much. But it was enough that he was like, I really don't want to play anymore. And it's like, well, I get it. But for me, everything got reset. Everyone's back at the Daily Planet. The foundation, what I know is there. I get to watch it build. And so Crisis was a good thing for me, you know. I mean, I knew, yeah, it was. It was a chance for me to get into to the DC universe, which at that point for me was impenetrable. And I had some great stories come out of it. I had Mike Grell's Green Arrow, which starred the Long Bow Hunters. George Perez's Wonder Woman was great. You know, Batman continued to be Batman. We got a new origin for that, which is a little rough, year one, compared to what we knew in the past. But there's a version that I got of the origin from Untold Tales of Batman. I think Byrne wrote the first story, and then Jim Aparo finished it up, or Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. It wasn't like it was a step down. And Lynn Wein wrote. It's like 3 or 4 issues. And so that became my origin. And I just progressed forward. And some of it I liked, some of it didn't. I thought they handled Green Lantern terribly. I thought they handled Hawkman terribly. And Hawkman, they never really resolved. But you know, it wasn't until the late '90s, early 2000s when Jeff Johns finally came in with Ethan Van Sciver, and they took 12 years worth of garbage Green Lantern stories, made something coherent out of it, and made them move forward. And it was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they even got a coherent story out of this.
Damn.
And they made the character cool again. So that was Green Lantern Rebirth was a big deal. It really was, because, and that's why Ethan's kind of held in such reverence for drawing it, because
he resurrected a character.
Everybody liked Kyle, but what had to happen for Kyle to be a Green Lantern was just like, what are you guys doing? And because Hal had been Green Lantern for that point since the '60s, and you're just kind of like, I don't know what you're doing here, because this has been the way it's. This has been 30 years of Hal, and all of a sudden, and we've had other Green Lanterns. You know, we had Guy Gardner, and we've had John Stewart, and both of them were cool. We liked all 3 of them, but none of them negated the other. And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, to have a new Green Lantern, we have to negate Hal Jordan. It's like, why?
Why?
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome, bro. You one day I'm gonna have to pick your brain, but before we go and wrap up this is actually pretty fun. I got to do this more often. Is there anything you want to plug or show off?
Not right now. I'm working on a comic myself, but it's slow going. I actually have a day job, so I get a page done about maybe 2 a month. And so when it's finally together and done, and it gets rewritten as I go, and then I throw pages away and put new pages in. When it finally gets done, then I don't want to promote anything. I've seen people promote their Indiegogos on a story idea before the pages are done and ready to go to press. And
so you want proof of finished construct before you go, hey, give me your money.
Right. I want people to know it's like, okay, it's done. Okay. It may still have to be lettered. I may need your money to pay for the lettering, but and for the printing. But as far as the story and the artwork goes, that's done. So if you're worried about whether or not you're going to get a book or not, you don't have to worry. It's done. And that's important to me, because there have been people out there who I don't think it was done maliciously, but, you know, put out, hey, I'm going to do this book, and, you know, this is my story idea, and this is what I'm doing. Here's some samples. And, you know, it's like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. And you give them your $25 or however much you give them. And, then later on, you come back and say, sorry. Yeah. And then, sorry, no book. And then you're just like, huh, all right. All right. I guess that was $25 out the window. And because I'm never going to see it again. And
well, I will offer you right now, I will be your first test reader if you ever give out sample copies.
Well, I appreciate it.
Oh, no, I appreciate it too, because I like free reading. No, I'm kidding. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you for everyone who showed up in the chat to watch this debacle of rabbit hole theories and assumptions and figuring stuff out for WandaVision. We're only 3 episodes in.
Well, thank you for having me here.
Oh, yeah. This is Mark C. You can find it probably on YouTube and Twitter. You can find me at the Buffet Line and Weight Watchers. This is Fat Steven signing out. Everyone here have a great day. It's been cool.